and this is the Fireside Chat with me, Gabe
and C-Mass.
And today, our guests are Tate Smith and Kason Seward, both past ASL-CSC presidents. So what we got going on here today is a royalty show.
A little president sit down, if you will.
All right. Well, thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
So, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Oh, and you should probably say what your name is so they know which one of us is the old-timer.
That's a good idea. Well, as the old-timer, my name is Tate Smith, and graduated from LCSC back in 2002. Enjoyed being involved in ASL-CSC that 2001-2002 school year. And now I'm still here. I've never left college. I'm the director of the first year experience program and still hanging out with ASL-CSC people, believe it or not.
Very nice. You both should take this as a warning because my goal is to never leave college either. So maybe we're starting a trend here. But anyway, I'm Kason Seward. I was ASL-CSC president last year, 2019 through 2020. And I am currently the parliamentarian for ASL-CSC again, just so I can help out, be useful however the current president or future president may need. We'll see how it goes.
You know what? As the current president, I will say that both of y'all have been a tremendous help this year because, yeah, it was something else. And it's always nice to have somebody who's been in your shoes, kind of. Like you can just look at them. It's almost like a coach kind of thing when you're out in the field. And so it's been really good getting to know y'all. And a little story I hear about Tate is that you're the reason why we're even having this conversation right now.
Oh.
Ooh, do tell more.
Maybe, I don't know.
The founding father of KLCZ?
Well, when I was a student at LC, there was a few students that said, gosh, it'd be so cool if we had a radio station on campus. And so I kind of joined in and said, well, let's do it. And I graduated from Lewiston High School, and Lewiston High School happened to have a frequency over there called 88.9 FM. It was KLHS. And so we started having conversations with Lewiston High School. They weren't using their license really that much. And they said, we'd like to repurpose that, and we ended up buying it. And we weren't able to make that happen without the help of ASL-CSC, and that was one of the legacy projects our year back in 2001, 2002, and we were able to make that happen. So we brought it over here, a couple blocks, and changed the name to KLCZ, and here we are. It's been a fun ride.
How much was the frequency? How much did it cost to buy at the time?
I don't know if I'm able to disclose that. It was very affordable.
Really?
Very affordable, yes. It actually came with a really old transmitter, and I don't have my documents here to go back, but KLCZ, or I should say 88.9 FM, the frequency, KLHS back then, had been around for years, and there was multiple people that were really instrumental in keeping that going and educating broadcasters at the high school level. And back then, you'd actually have to sit and get a broadcaster license. And so as a DJ, you'd have a FCC licensed DJ. They don't do that anymore, but it was quite a deal, and a lot of people have fond memories, from the community. They're like, I remember back when I was in high school, and 70s, 60s, 80s, quite a ways back. And so there's a lot of history with this station. And it's been kind of fun to be able to continue it on. And, it's still a part of an educational license that we have. So it has a little bit different rules. It's not a commercial station, so we don't do advertisements. We do underwriting, so we can have sponsorships, sort of like that NPR feel, an approach. So, but yeah, this was one of the things that we looked at during our year and said, we want to increase communication on campus. Maybe that never ends. We thought, let's put a kiosk up on campus. So we worked on that project too, and we thought, let's get radio going. And so, we were just trying to create outlets and opportunities. As a student, I was involved in the Pathfinder, and really enjoyed doing those sorts of things. And I thought, gosh, it's like a live learning lab, and why not try to provide more of those opportunities on campus for students that are interested in that. So
Dang, me and you got a lot in common all of a sudden.
So, yeah, it's fun to see it, still going and students still enjoying it. And we've had so many different students that have done different types of shows and programming. And probably one of the most rewarding things, I think, since I serve sort of as an advisor role now with the radio station, is when I hear students say, some of my fondest memories were my shows that I did with my friend, and, they would have a great time. And so, hearing that type of thing, it's really worth it in the long run, I think, for an advisor perspective. So.
I love working here, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
My question is, when are we getting a Tiny Desk concert?
Whew, I don't know. I think it's all up to you, man. Anything's possible. That's one thing that's great about LC is you've, if you have interest, you have motivation, there's so many people around that are willing to help you kind of achieve that. So, I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders, supporters. I think it would be a lot of fun, and, we've got people around here that can help make that happen. So,
Well
let's
said.
do it.
So what? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no. You go ahead.
Oh. Yeah. So.
Thank you for the next 30 minutes.
Kason.
Yes. Caden.
That's going to get confusing. You're next on our list here. Tell us, if I recall, you're the previous president.
I think that sounds right.
That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you accomplish in your time? How was your
Nothing.
experience?
No kidding. No, it was really interesting. Now that I'm on the other side and I'm parliamentarian, it's kind of weird seeing all of y'all go through the same things that I went through, but it's more fresh, and realizing, oh man, here are some of the areas that we could improve. And also, it's been great seeing. I'm rambling already.
That's what this is
That's
for.
fine. That's what it's about
Yeah.
here.
College radio.
Yeah, it's radio. It's been really refreshing seeing how the process works. Student government has been very influential on campus all the way from the very beginning that it started. And getting to be a part of it and its history and know that I'm contributing to this school's longevity, its sustainability, is it means a lot to me. And one of the things that our council was focused on doing was the sustainability. How do we make sure that future students, when they come to learn here, that they can continue to do it without some of the challenges that come with being a poor, broke college student who can only afford ramen. Well, we've got a Warrior Pantry here, and at the time, they had just moved into the Student Union building, and now it's named Center for Student Leadership. And Dr. Hansen notified us that there was a significant increase in the number of students who were taking advantage of the Warrior Pantry, more so than they'd ever seen. And so we decided to focus our efforts on helping those students who were utilizing the Warrior Pantry, because now that they had a higher rate of students coming to get food, we wanted to make sure they had food ready to go for students. So we chose our legacy project to be donation stations, because some students know this, some don't, and you're about to find out why for obvious reasons. The current donation station setup are cardboard boxes located around campus.
I remember those.
And they are low to the ground, and you don't really spot them until you need them. And people would donate their food in those boxes, and volunteers would run around campus to go pick up the food, bring it back, etc. And so we decided, why don't we make something that's a little more noticeable, also beautifies the campus, and encourages a higher rate of food donations for the pantry. So we got in touch with some resources. We called different colleges to see what they were doing in terms of providing food for their students. And we found this great donation station box template that we are using, where it's basically the size of a 2x2 desk. But it has a really great tote that can fit more food. It has a dolly, so it's easier to transport. And the idea is that they're in high traffic locations where people, the moment they enter a building, they can see this beautiful box that has information about the Warrior Pantry, and they can donate food if they want to. And it's basically easier to transport, make sure that the Warrior Pantry is more visible to students who need it, but also people who are able to give. And that was our focus for that year.
I think that's a noble cause. I think that's important. I actually do use the food pantry almost like every week.
Yeah, I literally just got back from there. Whoever put the black beans in, God bless you. That's all I can say. Because when there's black beans there, I'm saying, dude, it's the best day.
That pantry is a lifesaver. Like,
It
every
really
single
is.
student I know
Literally.
has used it,
Absolutely.
including me,
Dude, the fact that you can just go grab a Cliff Bar in between class
for free.
is probably the greatest thing of all time.
Yeah.
I've got a great education here, of course, but honestly, that's the highlight of going to LC. I think is like just having that.
The Cliff Bar.
The Cliff Bars, dude, on deck all the time.
I still don't know why they even sell them in the vending machine. I wish there was something we could do to, like, obviously we can't just put a sign next to it that says "Don't buy this Cliff Bar." But I
Walk
mean,
200 feet to the left.
it's the one downstairs across from the food pantry sells Cliff Bars, and there's a basket of free Cliff Bars in the food pantry.
Yep.
And people buy them. I've seen them buy them.
If you got the money,
I mean,
you know.
yeah, go for it.
I'm just a little jealous of you guys, though, because I didn't have that when I went here.
It was walking uphill both ways.
You know it.
Through the snow.
And that was ramen. That was it.
There wasn't even water. Just ate it hard.
That's right.
I mean, honestly, that's not that bad. If you crush up ramen and pour like the salt or the seasoning on it and shake it up a little bit, it's not great, and it's clearly like not good for your health to eat, but it tastes all right.
The fact that you know that just states the proof of the college student way.
Right.
In fact, when I was in ASL-CSE, I had a case of cup of noodles, and I just filled up the drawers with that, and that was often what I would have for lunch, was the cup of noodle.
Did they have hot pots back in your day?
I probably did. I don't think I have one, though.
Dude, they come in
I use a
turbocharged.
microwave.
Oh yeah, that's always a scary. You know,
It's probably the same microwave that's in there right now in the student government office.
because you're like not
That
supposed to
thing has
microwave
seen
the
some
styrofoam,
battles.
right?
That's what they say, but I'm sure
But
everyone
it
does
gives
it.
like a flavor that's like, it's honestly a little bit
no.
more savory.
Oh, no.
Like when it's in the microwave. I don't know if it's the CFCs or whatever, but like,
Have you tasted
The leftovers from
styrofoam?
whoever microwaved last.
yeah, it's like a
The
cast iron
styrofoam's to
thing.
die for.
I hope no one's eating while they're listening to this.
Like, ew.
No, people who know.
So Gabe, you're the current ASL-CSE president. What have you accomplished thus far, and what do you plan on getting done in the next 2 months ish?
Scratch his head. No,
What did I do?
you know, I think that whenever I first got this job, like, I asked myself this question: what am I going to do when I get in the office and, like, you know, get something established? And there was just so much going on that, like, it was hard to pinpoint what exactly could be done, but there was just one big thing that was on the minds of literally everybody. It was the pandemic, you know, and the uncertainty of that pandemic, or this pandemic. It's still going on, unfortunately. But like, there was so many questions that needed to be answered, and so much, like, you know, basically like germs are bad kind of vibe all around. And I was thinking, like, you know, we're going to be coming back to campus in the fall, and a lot of people, you know, are kind of freaked out about this, and it'd be nice that we could provide some kind of degree of comfort around campus to let people know that, like, hey, we're going to wear these masks, and we're going to try to keep things sanitized, and, you know, try to keep this as safe as possible because, you know, we value your education. And I know how important that is because, you know, I really think that in-person classes are really important for a lot of specific degrees. You know, some things you can do online, but bottom line is I wanted to make sure that when we got back to campus, we'd have a plan for if this ever happened again in the future, we could have necessary precautions to where, you know, people would feel safe. And so I remember right when it started, me, you, and Tate were sitting in that little office room, and we're talking about, like, hey, what if we, like, remodeled the bathrooms? Because already the bathrooms were, the sub bathrooms, man, those sinks, you can't turn them off. So not only
The downstairs one specifically.
the upstairs one.
Nightmare zone.
Right. And so we got lots of students coming in and out of there, and we think about the traffic of potential germs, if anything, but also just, wasting money on water loss. Like, it was something that I could see clearly needed some change. And so we roped Tate into our corner, and we're just kind of like, hey, man, what if we just remodeled this thing as our legacy project? Say we get automatic sinks, automatic paper towel dispensers, automatic soap dispensers, less surface area kind of stuff, and even foot-operated door openers. Shout out Machining Club for helping us out with that. And so it kind of it felt like this, it was like the last thing I would have expected myself, like the person I am, my personality, given, I did not think there was going to be a pandemic whenever I got this job. So that was the last thing I would have wanted to do, but I felt like it was something that needed to be done. And we could clearly justify that spending to do that. And so, there's no way I would have been able to do it by myself, because Tate behind the scenes, C-Mass, Kason, everybody working with us, Cody in the Machining Club, it's been, I feel like, you ask God, I'm rambling, sorry. What have I got done as president? I think it's ensuring that we've got a team that just flows together and, keeps each other up, keeps each other's heads up when times are obviously really tough. There's just such a strange time, and you can't see one person that's just certainly this is awesome kind of vibe. It's that we are going through a tough time as a nation, and to be able to have the team that we had, you as VP, Kason as parliamentarian, Tate coming in when Holly got, had her baby, and helping us out. It almost gives me this Star Wars feeling, where it's Kason's Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm Luke Skywalker, and C-Mass Han Solo, and then Tate's Yoda, after we're just
I look about it.
Yeah, because Holly left, and it was kind of oh man, what's gonna happen? And then Tate kind of comes out of the swamp, and it's just oh, I was the president at one point. That's
We're getting the green mask now.
That's the way I like to think about it, because it's honestly been just so much fun, and I just love each and every one of y'all, and the things we haven't gotten everything we wanted to do done, but we still got time, and we still got things. We've been dreaming. That's what I love about Tate is I know he's a dreamer, and I'm a dreamer too. So when we sit down together, we just talk about all these things, and a lot of them are way out there ideas. But some of them were whoa, we might actually be able to do that. And then we do it, and it's man, that was cool. It's cool to see things get done. And so that's a long answer to a short question, but yeah.
I'm seeing a theme here. It's service, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these projects that, basically ASLC is always doing is service related, whether it's increasing communication and doing radio type things, and, or the Warrior Pantry and providing for students, or a safe environment, the bathrooms and touchless services and that sort of thing. It's always comes back to the same type of thing of just service.
Well, it ties in with the name itself, legacy. It's what do we leave behind when we're no longer here? And we want to make sure that whatever we leave behind is better than where we found it.
That's deep, dude.
Yeah, I mean...
I could quote Hamilton, but I'll...
Well, as of about 2.5 hours ago, about maybe 3, I can officially announce my campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as of this point in time, I'm running unopposed. So, I mean, that kind of sucks that no one else wants to do it. I mean, it's great for me.
I mean, you're unopposed as far as you know.
As far as I know, oh my god.
Those write-ins, dude.
Those yeah. If I got beat by a write-in campaign.
Seymour Butts is coming for you, dude.
How did Seymour Butts get more votes than me? Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of like up in the air about what I really want to do. I'm assuming I'm probably going to win. I can't say for sure. If I didn't, well, that'd be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that would be. I'd feel really bad.
Yeah,
But you know what, man? All I can say is that, you've been my VP. You've been my right-hand man throughout this whole thing. I feel like you've been like my right-hand man. Kason's been like my left-hand man. And, like, the work you've put in, like, it's honestly, like, I think you have been a better leader than me in a lot of cases in the sense of dealing with the internal business. Like, you have a great skill of keeping everybody on track, being, like, it's almost like the good cop, bad cop thing that we talked about sometimes.
at the very beginning,
we there's a lot of times where we switch those roles because there's times like when you're a leader, you have to make hard decisions, and like it's always been hard for me to push somebody whenever you can see that they are at a point of I'm over this. But the dynamic that we created was like, I feel like we've made an environment where it's like we can do that and still get things done. And like there are times when it's like tensions are high, but we know that there is a purpose and there is a need for leadership at our school, especially right now. And I think that the job you've done as VP is the best I could have ever imagined. And so if you do end up in the shoes that, Tate filled 20 years ago, Kason last year, me right now, I think that you'll have the perspective that, like, I don't think any of us had coming into it, because you've been sitting there this whole time and you've seen it, and now you get the key, or might, if unless Seymour Butts beats you. But like, I think that you'll do great, and I'll still be here, kind of roaming around, be like a rogue kind of guy. But
I do have some small gripes with what I've done to what I've been doing. When I see you, you're like, it's like, how can I help? And then for me, it's like, how can you help yourself? Please do
self-help book.
Yeah, I feel like I have been way hard on everyone, which really sucks because I don't want to come off that way. But I just sometimes maybe I'm impatient. That might be part of it. But I just I feel like I've been so rude to so many people, but I'm not trying to be.
I think that you're a little hard on yourself sometimes.
I agree.
I hate that guy. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I do too, but no. No, dude. I think that, honestly, no, man. There are times where it's like, when you have a big job, it can't all be rainbows and sunshine all the time. Like, sometimes things get complicated, and you might have to get a little stern sometimes, and that includes with yourself. Like, I do it all the time, where I'll be like, man, I need to pick it up right now. And then there'll be other times where I'm like, man, C-Mass is not doing anything. I need to punch him in the arm, even though it's really the other way around. But there are times when there is a call to be stern. But the bottom line is that everybody knows how good of a person you are, and that you are a natural leader. I've played diplomacy with you. I know that you have a conquesting mind. I've seen it. I want to tell a story actually about a game of diplomacy that you guys had.
That's a bad one though. It went terrible.
But it just showed that's me and him stuck with it through thick and thin. And we had one other person that betrayed us, and it just destroyed me and C-Mass. We both lost first out in the game. But
in case you don't know, diplomacy is like Risk. It's like a way more complex version of Risk.
But it's one of those games where you have to have see the future kind of vision, and I think that it's way different than being in student government. But at the same time, it's like you're using those same neural mechanisms to think of like, okay, if this happens, then we got to do this. If this happens, then we got to do this. And so I love watching C-Mass play like these strategy games because it's like, I think of if he were the president, I'm like, he's got the mind to work on his feet. And so, you know, I know Ryle betrayed us, and Ryle, if you're listening, man, I'll never forget that, dude. That was so messed up.
That was terrible.
That was so messed up.
And you lost because of it, too.
Some things are unforgivable.
Yeah, man. Like we were on the path to global domination. Like I was in England, and
Really what you want to hear from your student government president.
Well, you know, all in the name of LC. I mean, come on, y'all. We're the best school in Idaho. But
The world.
yeah, man, we were so close. And Ryle, who was he? The Ottoman Empire?
I think I was the Ottomans, and he was Austria-Hungary.
That's right. Yeah, we were trying to take over Russia, and we were all coming in at different fronts, and we had to all attack on that move, or else it wouldn't have worked.
The whole thing would have been shot.
And so
but we
we all
all would have
met-
got, like, a lot of stuff.
Dude, yeah, the loot. But like the premise of this game, it's really funny because like you have to. There are times where like you can call people into different rooms, and y'all like will be like, hey, let's do this.
Secret
and then
meeting.
like yeah, it is. Yeah.
It really is. And it's
So-
in the rules, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fun. But anyways, me, C-Mass, and Ryle go into a room. We're like, hey, all right, we're gonna attack Micah. You're coming in South Russia. I'm coming in from England, taking my navy up there, and C-Mass is gonna come in from the west or whatever it was. And dude, it was all planned on the table.
And we were all going to walk out with, like, a huge piece of the pie, like
Everything
2
we
each.
wanted. Like it would have set us up to win. And it gets down to like when we all do our turns, I attack Russia, C-Mass attacks Russia, and then Ryle's turn comes. And we're all just like waiting for him to do it. And then Ryle's just like, I move my troops into C-Mass's territory. And then just attacks C-Mass and cripples him. And then it completely ruined my attack, so then I lose, C-Mass loses. It destroyed us.
Well
but like,
done.
it was. I'll never forget what C-Mass said. After that, he slowly lifts his head and he says,
Ottoman.
"Top 10 anime betrayals." And that to me is that's what I was just like. You know what, man? This guy is a stand-up dude.
I trusted him. It really hurt.
Did it callous you?
Well, the problem is in that game, everyone already targets me because they think I'm going to backstab them. I don't do it anymore because I'm tired of losing because of that. And everyone's still after me. It's like, he's going to do it. He's waiting for his chance. I'm like, I just want to play a board game.
There's a lot of irony in that because now you're the one being backstabbed.
Yeah. It was
Hard.
sad. So, this is just so weird that there's 4 of us in here, like, in these, like, positions. Like, we got past, present, and potential future.
Yeah, but on that note, I wanted to jump off of what Gabe was saying. There's a piece of advice that I have for you based off of what you said, Kaden, about worrying about coming across as rude or being unsure of how others are perceiving your leadership, that kind of thing. This is advice that's, I think, important for anyone who's going into a leadership position. So it's not preferential, but it's based off of what you said. I think good leadership requires a certain amount of self-awareness, knowing that, hey, the things that I say have an influence on people, not just on what they do, but how they feel and how they are motivated to do the work that they need to do. And sometimes, as Gabe said, you have to be stern. You have to provide that direction and say, hey, when we as a group committed to fulfilling this project, that means everyone has to do their part and pull their weight. And if someone is not doing their task, then you politely, if you can, or firmly, gently guide them in the next direction. And if you ever are concerned, though, the part of that leadership is the self-awareness. If you feel like, hey, I think I might have overstepped my boundary here. I feel like I might have gone a little further than maybe I should have or what was appropriate for that situation. That self-awareness lets you go back and make sure everything's okay. You can always go back and say, hey, when I said this, I did not intend that to come off the way it did. Or if it, I'm not sure how you perceive that, but I'm worried that I might have overstepped here. And I want to check in with you and see if you're okay. Like taking your own ownership of your behavior it's a sign of leadership to other people. Like when I've had leaders who own up to their mistakes, whether they were real mistakes or otherwise, if they said, hey, for my own sense of self, I feel like I messed up here and I want to take accountability for that and say I'm sorry. That was really moving for me. And I felt like, hey, that's the kind of leadership I want to emulate. The kind of person who's, one, doesn't pretend that they're flawless, but who owns their mistakes, but also still continues forward, providing that leadership and that guidance, and encourages people to take on their own leadership and become a charge of themselves. So that way nobody flounders off to the side. There will always be people who do that. But if you're ever worried, C-Mass or anyone else who's listening, just having that self-awareness is already a great step towards leadership.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, it installs a human element to it, for sure. Because like you're saying, like, you gotta, even if you're, like you know, you may not be wrong, but, like, the self-awareness comes in whenever you have a thought of, like, hey, maybe what I said came off wrong. And so that the ability to clarify that and be honest with not only yourself but your constituents,
own it.
It's nice, like, and this is like something that I try to do as a leader, but then on the other end of it, whenever people who have led me, like I've had people, you know, like football coaches or whatever when I was a kid who would never admit that, like, you know, they were a little too rough. Like, you know, like I had somebody like throw me into a bench kind of thing, you know, because they're so hell-bent for doing like this great, you know, being this great thing, but you can't, you know, they completely butchered the human element of it, and the fact that everybody makes mistakes, everybody wanders down these paths, and if the leader themselves can't admit that, then there's just, it's going to just be a big old cesspool of resentment.
On that note, it's also a breakdown of communication. You don't want to talk to someone who's just going to tear you to pieces the moment you ask a question.
Yeah, dude.
Or even if it's not even about a question, just knowing that someone is hostile to owning mistakes or opening lines of communication for improvement. Why should anyone improve if a leader is not open to improving themselves? So it's a good point, Gabe.
Tate, I really wanted to ask you something. Okay, I'll preface this. I really appreciate that, though, Kason. But, all right, Tate, we have been asking.
I've had enough of this.
I've been asking to get you on this show every time that we do this. We're like, where's Tate? Tate keeps dodging us. Like, Tate's not here. And you're like, I'd love to do it. The first time I asked you, like, I'll be your first or second guest. Like, I'd love to. And it is almost
Last week of February.
It's 2 months later since we started. So I know you've been busy. I've really wanted to pick your brain, and I wanted to know more about your experience with ASL-CSC. So you told me about what you did. How was your leadership at the time? What would you rank your leadership? And it's okay if it's not good.
You know,
Not saying it is.
I can say that we didn't lose anybody until the end of the second semester. We lost one person, and they were going through some family things, so it wasn't anything like disgruntled and I'm out type of thing.
Impeachment.
Yeah. So I was really proud of that because we had a historical rate of sometimes being up and down. You know, if you looked at the previous ASL-CSCs, and they always seemed to be fighting. And I never was a senator. I was very involved on campus in different capacities. The Pathfinder did the business manager thing. I was on the sub board. I was in what's now called Web, but back then it was called Student Programming Board. And so I was really active and really enjoyed all those different things. And I really loved LC. And I thought, you know, I'm approaching my senior year. I've got some light loads for my senior year. I think I've got time. I'll do this ASL-CSC thing maybe. I did run against somebody. Luckily, we won.
Was it close?
I don't know what the total number. I can't really remember, but and I had a really good VP, so kind of like you guys, you know, good team. Yeah,
it matters.
And that's part of that leadership thing too. Is like you said, it's not just one person, but Christopher Oglesby was our vice president, and you know we balanced each other really well and got some things done. But I wasn't really that excited about ASL-CSC unless I could jump in there and give it my all, and I wanted to get things done. And that was just kind of how it was. And I wanted to have fun while we're doing it. So that was my whole goal. When we started things out, we had a retreat, like they often do with ASL CSE. And that was a really important time. And that would be a piece of advice, I guess, is that if you can, bring that community building opportunity together for them.
Agreed.
With a retreat. And I would also encourage you to do that like midway through the semester a couple different times. It could be just going bowling as a group. It's harder to stab somebody in the back if you start having a conversation over dinner, and you know what I mean. Like
I just became interested in even more.
This is
so
kind of coming
what you're saying.
back to your game approach here, right?
He really wants polo shirts with racing stripes for the bowling aspect. You just imagined his whole fantasy for him.
And not to say that things get really crazy political, but there's personalities. And so it's like any organization, you have to figure out how to navigate those personalities and find there's always common ground. And everybody is doing this because usually they want to do something to make things better. And it's trying to appreciate everybody's differences and finding that common ground. And that's probably the greatest leadership development, educational experience you can have, is being put in this live lab of a group of people and trying to figure out, okay, what do we want to get done? How are we going to get there? And who's going to help lift whatever parts of these things and delegate and try to bring it all together, And so for me, as far as leadership, I felt like we had a good year. We had a lot of things that got done. The kiosk thing, Christopher Oglesby did a lot of that. So he took care of that. And the radio thing was a little bit more in my area. We got involved and wanted to see an outdoor rec program happen, so we bought a canoe.
There we go.
And we had a big thing it's out at Hell's Gate. It used to be a big barn. They tore it down now, but there was some things stored out there for track and field, and there was actually some old skull shells that were out there for crewing and stuff. And so we had an idea like, wouldn't it be great to have this partnership with Hell's Gate and have a riverfront property, and we could rent canoes and stuff like that. And but we didn't have a budget for it. So the idea was, let's do the imagery here. Let's go out there and clean it up. Let's have a big picnic type thing. And we had 6-foot subs out there, invited faculty and staff and students, and we'll have the canoe out there and just say this is sort of like the launching of the outdoor rec program, and then hopefully the next group will maybe pick up and take off from there. I think we got a small fee established during that year. That was one of our goals, is let's get $1 or $2 dedicated for outdoor recreation. And so, that was kind of the whole thing, is like, let's try to do as many good things as we can for the students as possible, and have fun. Make it fun. Try to, let your student group see the benefits that are happening, and kind of keep that momentum rolling.
So it sounds like you did a lot, attempted to do a lot, very ambitious. So would you consider yourself to be a well-loved and well-remembered president? Because it seems like if you were my boss and you were like, we need to build a barn at once at Hell's Gate, I'd be like, what?
Well, the barn was already there.
Okay.
And we didn't paint it. I might have been a dreamer and thought, we could maybe paint this thing. And
LC blue.
Right. But the group, I don't think they were getting tired probably by the end there. So, but we went out and cleaned. We had a good time, and I still correspond with some of those folks today, and so it's been cool. Well loved and revered.
Your picture's on the wall still.
I was going to say, about as far as I could get as a picture, and sometimes people notice, sometimes they don't. But I think it was a fun year. And that's what it was, and I appreciate the learning that I got out of it, and I appreciated being able to give back to a college that I really enjoyed, all the opportunities that I had. I came here and thinking I would not be here, but for maybe a semester, and then I might transfer to a local kid. And all my friends were telling me, you should go here or there. And then I fell in love with the teachers, and I was like, I know these people on a first name basis, which is really kind of cool, and I'm enjoying my small class sizes, and I just like the feel. And I was sold after a semester.
Yeah, it really does feel like you're being invested in, rather than just there to buy education. You feel like you are literally a work in progress.
Like, it feels more like an experience than like a job. I don't know how to explain it. Even when I'm here, like, doing things, I'm like, why am I here? It's 7 o'clock. I should be at home. I'm like, you know what? This is it. This is where I'm supposed to be right now. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Well, Kason, you're only a year away from ASLCSC now. Do you think you'll go down as a well-loved president?
I mean, I certainly hope so. I mean, we all want to be remembered and loved. I think it's kind of like Tate was saying. Some of the relationships that I made while I was president they felt deeply influential. I'm still talking to a good number of those people that I served with, and I feel like beyond just the legacy project, we ran so many different events and different projects, and we got to meet so many different people. Even if I'm not well remembered, I will remember a lot because I'm taking so many people with me. I mean, like, the professors will stay, but even when I go, I feel like I'm taking a piece of everyone with me, and it really does feel like this is a second home in a lot of ways. So when I come back, doesn't matter if people remember me or not. I just hope that I left it better than I found it, and that it continues to be better every time I find it.
That's a good mindset.
That's beautiful. I will remember you.
It's going to be great when we're all back here
Got
together.
one.
It's going to be great when we're all back here together in our 30s, 40s. Tate,
How old was he?
well, Tate won't be. He'll
He
be.
might not be here anymore.
You're going to be the new Andy Hansen soon, and then the rest of us are all going to be taking the old jobs. It's going to be great.
That would be insane.
That would be crazy. We come back on. It's like, I remember when I was on KLCZ.
I
They're like, nobody calls it that anymore.
dude, I honestly could see myself teaching here, like, once I'm down that road.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
Because the psychology program here, and I know, you're a psych dude as well, so that's like, there's just like, it's weird. It's like Hogwarts, man. I'm always making these movie analogies, but like, I feel like we're just like, like.
Oh no, are we
kinda-
the same house though?
Actually,
Sorry, I'm not
I don't
derailing.
know. I actually don't know enough about. It's more like it's like the Jedi's. Okay, I'll go back to Star Wars.
Time. I have to go to the bathroom so bad. You keep going. I got to go
right, yeah.
now.
Okay, do what you gotta do, C-Mass.
I've never stopped before to go to the bathroom, but I was like, wow, I really have to go.
We believe in
I'll hold
you.
it down.
I'll be quick, I promise.
That's the pain of not having commercials. No, but anyways, it's like I think of psychology almost like the Force, where you, and I think it was me and you talking about like the gray Jedi thing.
Oh yeah, we were.
But like, people, when you conceptualize Star Wars, it's like you got the Siths and you got the Jedis, and the Siths are out here just like using these, tools to do terrible things, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Jedis are like, there's like this greater truth that they're trying to preserve, and sometimes it involves like almost a form of manipulation, like, but like in a way of like making somebody believe in themselves, kind of thing. Like with Obi-Wan and Luke, kind of like whenever he's fighting that little flying thing that's shooting lasers at him. I think that like I felt like whenever I got this job, because you are a brilliant psychologist, I've had class with you, and the conversations that we have in those classes, like, it goes back to the small classroom thing. It's like,
Yeah.
that's something that you can't get anywhere else, is like the depth that some of the conversations in these classrooms, like where they go, and the way that the teacher is like treating you like, an equal almost, and that they take what you say and it means something, and they can give you cool feedback, and it's just like this crazy back and forth. Like, I feel like because you're the one who like kind of got me interested in doing this job. In the
Yeah, we
first
were
place.
taking the psychology of beauty.
I'm back. That's right, dude. Yeah, I remember you came up to me and you're like, "You interested in running student government?" I'm like, "No."
The way I remember it is I was standing at the info desk talking to Jaslyn. You walked in and you were on a mission to do something else, and I yelled at you, and I said, Gabe, get over here. And you walked over, and I said, are you interested in running for student president? And you were like, no. And I said, well, too bad. And I gave you a piece of paper. I said, think about it.
And I did. And, it's crazy because, like, I just, throughout, like, the evolution of that happening, like, because that was before COVID.
Yeah,
So,
it was.
Like, my mindset was like,
BC.
okay. Like, yeah. Wow.
It was another
BC.
world, another
Yeah.
universe.
Dude, it really was. And, like, my idea of what this would be was completely different. And
Mine
so I'm
too.
like, I could do this. Like, this, I mean, I'm a little bit of an oddball. I can't believe that you would think that, like, I'd be, like, leadership potential. Because, I'm pretty academic and whatnot, but I've always been a little bit, off the beaten path. I'm not wearing a suit and tie every day kind of thing. I'm wearing sweatpants right now. So, like, I thought it was really interesting that you saw something in me to do that. And there was I don't know, it was almost like I felt like you helped guide me into a path of, like, being not only, like, a good leader, but, like, a noble leader. And, like, following, like, that Jedi way. And using psychology for the good of the campus. And when the pandemic hit, it was like, whoa. Like, we need good vibes here. Like, we need somebody who can relate with the students and, know ways to motivate people around them and stuff. And I felt like you gave that to me, and it helped me radiate that to my council and our council, and I don't know, it's just been a crazy experience. Like, seriously, someone needs to write a book about this.
Yes.
It's just been the biggest trip I've ever been on.
You could ask anyone what their bets for the next president and vice president were. I don't think either of us would have came up.
Oh, not even close. No way.
No, like, we won by circumstance, and we're, like, doing so well because I literally just snapped into the VP position because the person dropped out. And then that's basically what happened to you as well.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe this happened.
Yeah, literally some middle point between the last forum and the voting day. Your opponent dropped out.
I know. I was like, I remember I was in Tennessee at the
Remember
time.
you sent me a message saying, what does this mean? I was like, well,
oh, dude, because I
it sounds like congratulations might be in order, but we can't say anything until we get that last vote because you never know until Seymour Butts shows up.
I know. I was worried too, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what? As crazy as it's been, as stressful as it's been, I think that this has, like, been one of the most meaningful experiences that I've had in my life, because it showed me that, if you set your mind to something and, like, it basically, there are times whenever no one else wants to be a leader, and it's like when you're in class and no one's raising their hand to a question that you know the answer to, but you don't want to be that dude who's, like, just blurts it out.
So instead you ask the question that you know people might be quietly thinking to themselves. Like, even just today in the mandatory meeting that we had for election candidates, people don't know the questions that they need to ask when they're sitting in that moment and they're brand new, and they've to be honest, every single time we've held an election, there's always at least 30% of the students who are ready to admit, I didn't know we actually had a student government. So they don't know what to ask. So sometimes, whether you're in class or you're in those important meetings and you know the answer and you don't want to be that person who's always answering the question, it turns into a leadership moment of, maybe I'll ask the question. I might look dumb, but I know someone else is thinking it because I thought it once before. And I didn't know I should ask.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Wow. I can't believe we've already went through like 50 minutes here.
Well done.
I can't believe it.
Oh, I think we could talk all afternoon.
Oh, for sure.
Easily. Easily.
4-hour podcasts.
But I know that you guys have to go around too, correct?
Yeah. We've, you're having a hard time getting me in here, and I got more things to go out and work on.
Yeah, you're trying to dodge us again.
Technically, he's dodging a few other people to be here today.
I would love to be. I'd love to be here every Friday. But
Do it.
maybe
Do it. Make the commitment
it.
today.
wait until next year. You know, Holly will be back. Andrea will be back online.
Dude, next year
Full staff will be sitting good.
Mm-hmm. I am looking forward to next year because, like, if you're the president, like, that'd just be so cool, like, be able to watch that happen because, like, I'm still going to be here. You know, I'm sure you are too, right?
Yes, I am. I've got one more year left.
So, yeah, and it's like I'm not going to be doing ASL/CSE again because I got to focus on grad school. And speaking of that, I know, Kat, if you're listening, congrats, girl.
Wait, did she get it?
I ain't gonna announce it, but
Gabe,
yes.
I need details. Tell me later.
Kat, if you're listening, congrats. That's all I can say. But yeah, I want to focus on getting into my grad school stuff. But there's a lot of things that you know, that we've been dreaming of that I still think we could do, like, and carry it on next year to where, like, if COVID's settled down, like, all these dreams that we've been having of, like, you know, for me in particular, I want to find a way to make LC more of a, you know, a hub for people like artists, you know, like musicians, painters, whatever. Like, there is a lack of outlets for artists in this area of the state. Like, I can't think of any other school. U of I, like, sure, but, like, that small field. Like, LC has the means, because of the way it's structured, to be a place where artists thrive. We've got a music building with everything you need in it. We've got these amphitheaters. We've got all this space. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's cranking out right now. I bet you there's people painting some crazy stuff in there.
I hope so.
You know, I think that, like, people, once COVID's over, are going to be like, man, we missed this. Like, we missed human expression. Like, what's behind the mask?
Literally.
Like,
Literally.
know, yeah, dude. Like, and I think that next year, I'm going to be rocking and rolling, dude. Like, I want some music on campus. I want, you know, art. And I really think that we are going to have the means to do that. And it's going to change LC for the better and set up.
I think this whole thing, you know, people are going to appreciate the things they didn't even think about.
Right.
Absolutely.
A year ago, like, oh, I could just sit out here and I don't have to have my mask on. I can just breathe the air and I can be close to somebody. And
Remember hugging?
I don't
That
have
was
to, like,
awesome.
Yeah. The
maybe
simplest
sanitize my
things.
hands all the time and wipe down tables after I'm... Yeah, all these different things.
Probably going to see a much higher participant turnout in future events.
Yeah. It's
Any
like,
excuse to get out.
it's like, why did only 5 people show up to this? Well, they couldn't fit in the room, quite simply. Yeah, it's almost 2, but per our tradition, we have a lot to go through first.
Oh, okay.
So we'll try and fast track this. So typically at the end of this, there's like 3 questions. One's from Gabe, one's from me, and one's from both of us.
Okay.
I can go first. Do you want to go first? You never go first.
Nah, you go first. I like being second.
Okay. All right. So Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm ready.
So Tate, do you have any experience with Dungeons and Dragons?
No.
Not at all.
I'm sorry.
I'm in the same boat, brother.
Kaden, we have so much work to do.
I
We have
know
to
we
train
do.
these poor souls.
I've been asking, man. C-Mass like, yeah, no, you're not cool enough to be in my campaign.
Sorry.
Stranger Things is about as far as and close I get to
I'm
Dungeons
so
and Dragons.
sorry.
It's enough for a start, albeit an awfully poor one. If you were D&D classes or characters, what would you be? I've heard Rogue, I've heard Paladin, I've heard Wizard on here. I've heard a lot of Wizards, actually. But what would you guys be if you were going to be a class?
Since I don't know anything, I'm going to let you guys. I'm going to flip the question on you. What would I be?
That's a good question.
I already know my answer.
You can go first if you want. Then what?
I think Tate would be an artificer. Because
That's completely accurate.
Going based off of the 500 million things that you did while you were president and the 500 million things you've done since. An artificer basically is someone who takes what's in front of them and creates something new based out of what's available. And they're
magical.
Brilliant. Yeah, they can use magic as well. And it's a very hardcore technical class, but at the same time, they are not to be messed with. They're intense.
Yeah, I'm playing one of those right now, and
Really good class. I'm afraid of playing it, to be honest.
I'm playing it right now, and it's hard.
It's rough, yeah.
Like, I feel like I get just the
Yeah, but some people,
goodness beat out of me every time.
but some people are like really acclimated to it. Have you seen like a player who's in their element playing an artificer?
Yeah.
It's like watching magic. They create the craziest things that you don't even realize could be done. So it works for Tate.
I think so. And then
I'm getting intrigued now to learn more about this D&D.
it's a rabbit
For
hole.
4 of us, we gotta make a campaign.
That would be the president's campaign.
Yes.
That would be
all
funny.
right, we got our next event.
Yes, there we go.
Kason, what would you be?
Well, I know what I tend to play. I tend to play paladins just because they're the most stable, I suppose, and I am attracted to something that's predictable.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've also enjoyed playing clerics, and wizards are a little harder for me. They're infinitely complicated.
And they're really squishy.
They're so squishy. I can't handle it. But I am curious what you would think, though, what I would play. Because I've also played barbarian.
I wasn't going to say that at all. I was going to say maybe a druid. I think I see magic.
I am a Libra, so people often think druid.
People tell me I'm a Libra too, but I don't know anything about
Yeah,
astrology.
you and I are only 2 days off from our birth dates.
I always forget that. No wonder people get us confused all the time.
Kaden and Kason, 12th and 14th.
It's kind of awesome. And I can't, Gabe, I've asked you this before. I don't remember what you've said.
Dude,
needs
I
to be
don't know
introduced.
anything about Dungeons and Dragons. I literally just know from like hearing this question asked at the end of the show. So I built up a little bit
Oh, I know the answer.
of a knowledge. I don't know, man. I think of myself as a little bit of a wizard, but also like I've been told.
We're shaking our heads at him.
The buzzer.
You're off the show.
You've never seen me cast my spells, man. I'm like a closeted wizard. But
You're a wizard with that guitar.
hey, man, and that's the
You
thing. It's like
cast the
there's
musical
bards.
spells.
Like
Closer.
Yeah.
a bard is what people, because like that's my life is music for the most part. I love it with all my heart. And apparently there's a class called the bard that like plays music, but everyone's like,
Specifically,
yeah, but they're super lame. I'm like, oh, well, okay. Like,
They've got some okay stuff. I don't want to get too technical.
They got a stereotype for them that
Yeah.
they're super flamboyant and don't care about anything except themselves. But honestly,
sounds
the whole
accurate.
no, but the whole basis of a bard is that they draw community together through art. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like it's not just music. Some of them are artists. Like they recite poetry or they do
They can dance,
performances.
too.
They dance. They
They inspire people is like their whole idea.
yeah.
Just getting crunk playing D&D. Breaking it down. Man. I can see it.
But I was thinking like a ranger bard.
I was going to say ranger
class, yeah.
for sure.
You can do both.
Yeah,
You could
You
multi-class.
could, yeah.
Most DMs won't let you because it's too complicated, but you could.
No, I think it's super fun.
Sign me up, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I always just say rogue. I feel like that's close. But honestly, the longer I exist, the less I feel like I want to be a rogue or I feel like a rogue. I'm losing my sneakiness. So now I don't know.
It's quite the existential dilemma you're in.
Yeah. I thought sorcerer is kind of close as well. I could see that. But no one plays sorcerer because they're terrible. They're like the worst. They're probably the second worst class in the game. Easy
Yes.
money.
Next to ranger. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Ranger's terrible. Yeah, so
They
I'm
got
just wondering,
nuked. Yeah.
what do you got for these guys?
Well, I guess as a bard, I'll ask you this. I like to think of life in like our roles that we play in different, areas that we're in as a symphony. And my question I ask is like, in this symphony of life, what instrument do you see yourself as? And it doesn't have to be like a symphony like, Leonard Bernstein kind of vibes. Like it could be like a rock and roll, whatever, dude, jazz group, like whatever symphony or arrangement of instruments, where do you see yourself as in that lineup?
The cowbell?
That's honestly,
Triangle.
people discount the cowbell and the shakers and the tambourines.
No, they're
they make they give that like that like it. It's those are important.
We need more cowbell.
That's a fact, man. That is a fact.
You can go first, Tate.
Oh man, this is tough. One instrument.
You can be
Or the
a
symphony.
multi-instrumentalist if you want, dude.
So if you ask the kind of music I do enjoy kind of that bluegrassy, folky kind of stuff. So,
Really?
yeah, I actually like a lot of different types of music. You know, I even enjoy the blues, and so that's probably why I like music and radio stuff. I don't really have any favorites. It's just like I love all sorts of music. But if you were to pin me down, I'd probably say I'm more of a bluegrassy kind of folky, Davy Matthews typey stuff.
Banjo.
Yeah, more banjo. Not more cowbell, more banjo.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I could see you giving some great vocal harmonies as well.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see it too. I'm kind of the same as Tate in the same way that I like a lot of music. There's very, very little music that I won't listen to on principle. But for me, I've always been drawn to piano. I've been playing piano my whole life.
I've heard this dude is a wizard on the piano. It's insane.
I'm very driven by my auditory processing. So like I can listen to any song on the radio and I can go and figure out how to play it on piano. That's my thing. I'm terrible with reading not poetry, piano sheet music. It's a P word. But I really like the piano. There's there's infinite options and things that you can
dude.
create.
It's just there.
Yeah, and it's all tied within just one set. It's kind of like a human person, our capabilities of language. We can make anything we want. But we're just one person. Yeah. I do also like violin. I like watching going down the YouTube rabbit hole and just watching all the piano and violin covers of different songs. People are so creative. It's inspiring. But in terms of like music genres, I definitely do lean more towards alternative, folk, and pop. Those are my three favorites that I tend to rotate on. And it makes Spotify crazy because it never knows what to give me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's how my Spotify is.
Yeah.
Man, I've been saying this forever, but you got to come jam with us sometime.
Yep.
We did once, and it was beautiful. Like, this guy was just
It's pretty fun.
ripping on the piano, and I was playing my guitar with him. I'm just like, whoa, dude, like, this is cool. I had no idea Kason was just this wizard of musicality.
I used to lead a youth band for a youth group, and I played piano and guitar, and I taught other kids how to play it, and none of them wanted to ever sing, so it was always my job. And I taught them how to run sound systems and stuff, but like the old school stuff that like you bought at like some garage sale, someone who wasn't using anymore.
It works,
so
it works.
yeah, it wasn't the best stuff, but I got by, so I know that.
That's the spirit of music, man.
Yeah.
Well, somebody was talking earlier about, I think it was you, Kason, about leaving this place better than you got it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you over the years, I think that's been pretty accurate. Every year, it's funny, if you've been here long enough like I have, things that weren't here that are now here and how they've changed. This was more of a campus when I was going to school that you would come, you go to class, you get in your car, and you might go home. There wasn't much of a presence on campus just to like hang out. The sub was different looking. I mean, they did a remodel. We used to have a big parking lot where the activity center was. It was a small little gym. I mean, there's so many things that have changed. We didn't have the Sacagawea Hall or most of the dorms that we had around. You know, the college place, Clearwater, weren't around. So things have just changed so much over the years, and it's been fun to see. So I think when you do come back, after you go off, get your master's degrees and all that sort of thing,
Doctorate.
yeah, doctorate.
Yeah.
You'll come back and I bet you will see there's going to be even more things that have changed and happened. One thing that hasn't changed is those bathrooms down in the basement of the sub, but that's going to
Yeah, Gabe fixed
I'm
that.
going to come back 20 years later and wash my hands down there and just be like,
those sinks and that tile. The
And you'll
floor,
be able
they're
to
the
price
same.
match every piece of
I
it.
know, right? Be like, man, we could have had marble on here, but it's just $2,000 more expensive.
Wasn't it $3,000?
I think it was, was it 5?
It was a difference of 5 to 2, yeah.
And with inflation at that point, you know.
Yeah.
Man, look how long that tile's been around for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it still looks great. Like no chips or anything.
Yeah.
So the last thing we got for you
Yes.
is Then we'll let you go. You'll be allowed to leave.
Promise.
I promise.
Pinky promise.
I can't make that commitment. No, but so we always each say like 3 people that we think should come on here with us. But I don't know. We're kind of getting down the list now. What do y'all got? 3 each, I should
3
specify.
each? Rhett Diesner.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
We have reached out to him. It's just a matter of getting this phone to do what we want it to do.
What if you got like a bunch of different psych professors,
Dude,
like
that's my
Diesner,
dream, man.
Genthos?
Oh my goodness, that would be so
You
beautiful.
gotta
Parker or
reach out to
Rust,
someone.
one of the two.
Dude,
Both of them?
The more,
Yeah.
the merrier.
There's so many interesting stories out there, and I think if you were able to tap some of those, and even President Pemberton, I don't know if you've had a chance.
Oh, we've been trying.
We're trying.
Yeah.
I've been in contact with Lori.
All right.
We're setting something up.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah. So, boy, I think with Rhett leaving, I mean, he's just been around forever, and it's
He's
going to
a
be
legend.
sad.
He's a
when
pillar.
he leaves the campus, although hopefully he'll still come back and visit and not be too far away. But years ago, I think I even interviewed him one time for a radio show, and it was fun. Had him play a couple songs that he liked. What his tastes were, and so I think he'd be a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the best. He's like my mentor. I do research with him. He's just a cool dude, man. I love him with all my heart.
Chris Norden, I don't know if you know Chris Norden or not. He's one of our English professors, and Eric Martin, and they'd be fun as well. And
Harold Crook has a great voice. He would work on radio.
What do you got, Kason? Harold?
Well, I mean, like if you,
Or no?
he's a character,
Okay,
so
so
like
not
he's
Harold.
all by himself. Yeah. I do like the idea of hosting professors. One of the things that keeps coming up right now in the social sciences is like grad school workshops and trying to help students learn more about, hey, if you want to continue your education, what does that look like? And there's only so many students who can like get into a room, especially COVID times. I wonder if it would be cool to get some professors together who just talk about the whole grad school experience. So Dr. Genthos, Dr. Parker usually run grad school workshops. But I think it would be really cool if you had some kind of educational session as well in here.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just interviews, but also like things that are very explicitly items you can take home. Like people can listen in and they can write notes and be like, yeah, I should do that. Or this is what I can do to be more prepared when I want to ask a professor, hey, I'm really enjoying this and I want to keep going, but I don't know what to do. Maybe you could take out some of those questions ahead of time so they come in and say, I know what I want to do, or I have an idea and I need help. That'd be cool.
That would be beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Education through radio waves.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It doesn't have to be every week, but I think it would be cool to have maybe one a month. That'd be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we could.
Others you might think about too. I'm wondering, Jill Thomas Jorgensen is a business teacher, and she went to school here as well, and was a Pathfinder editor, I believe, years ago.
Oh, my.
So, if you're looking at some of those kind of look backs or people that have been around for a while, that might be a good one. Maybe even
Mike Owen would be a good
Mike
one.
Owen would be good.
He
He's
knows
been around a long
everything.
time.
I want to. I just don't know
Or a
if
little
he'll
bit of
want
everything.
Oh,
to.
he will.
I don't
I
know.
guarantee you. He'll do
Oh,
it.
I think it would tickle him. He'd love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bother him about it because he's the CTE version of Rhett Diesner, so...
Yeah, pretty well liked.
And
Yeah.
grabbing maybe somebody from even physical plant would be kind of cool. Like Wayne Boland's been around forever, caretaker of the lawns and the fountain. He was a part of building the water fountain in the center of campus and introducing all the ferns that are natural transplants.
You could send an email to each of the different departments, like the admins of each department, and say hey, who's been here the longest? Who's the craziest person in this department? Send them our way. We want to interview them.
Yeah.
Well,
Just ask
These
people
are
to
big
nominate
brain
people.
ideas.
these are big brain ideas.
Yeah.
Matt Bainey.
Matt Bainey.
He's down at the Tribune. Wrote for the Pathfinder as well. Sports editor down at the Tribune for many years, and now he's one of the editors that helps out with some of that. And so he would be a great one too, just to kind of get the perspective of an alum.
Doug Steele might be good
Yeah.
because he's head of the mental health counseling.
Yes, that would be very good.
Slow down, you're
Really helpful.
taking all of our ideas.
This is recorded, right?
yeah,
you can
you
write all
want
this
it
down
to
later.
go.
Ideas, man. I'm taking notes.
I
You
mean,
got your whole schedule for next year planned out.
Yeah, you don't need us.
at this point, we've accomplished most of who we initially wanted to interview, minus a few. So the only one I really want to talk to now is Jeff Peterson.
Ooh, that would be fun.
I know, Jeff would be so fun. I think it would be cool because we've never talked about theater in here before.
Jeff and Nancy both would
Yeah.
have a lot to say.
That would be cool, I think.
Yep.
But that's all I got for
Some
that.
radio theater.
Some radio. We actually are going to have a radio Macbeth later this semester that I have graciously accepted the role of Macbeth in.
Nice, congrats.
I heard it's a scary role.
Just follow the rule and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I won't say Macbeth any more times after this.
As long as you're not in the theater, you should be
Yeah.
good.
This is the radio theater.
No, that's true. You're screwed.
I can't say no.
One more time, just for no kidding.
Only-
But if you wanted to ever do this again, like with different presidents, Rocky Owens was president
oh yeah.
up at
Brian
CDA.
Kolstad, one of our graphic comic professors.
Also, AJ and Sam might be willing to call in sometime.
Have a little reunion.
Coleman,
Yeah,
prosecuting attorney here.
Yeah.
That's first
yeah. There are some really great folks you could call if you ever wanted to do this kind of thing again, but with different voices, different experiences.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
what we're looking for.
if you ever have free time, anybody who wants to see a very different type of presidential headshot, there's a book below all of the
I've
photos
seen that,
of
man.
presidents.
It's legendary.
Flip through that book. Rocky Owens, you will spot it so fast because he had a friend do a portrait of him,
Oh my
art
God.
style,
I.
and it's really well done.
They want. A couple
It's like
people
on old paper because it's like been weathered a bit, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's really well
A
done.
couple people want me to do that too, and I was like, that would be really awesome, actually. Like everyone's like, I'll paint it, or I'll find someone to paint it. I was like, why do you want this so bad? But I might do it if we get that far. If we get that
As long as they
See
paint
more
one of
butts.
those old colonial wigs on you, give you an old portrait.
Do you have anyone, Gabe, in mind, or?
I mean, I've spoke my piece in the last shows. You know, Dr. D, Dr. Gentos, like the psych people, like everybody else said, and I've been saying Dr. Graham as well from the music building. Her and she was one of the first professors I had here, and she got me involved in the music program, and she helped me start that rock band class. She's helping me get this music club going, and she's just so musically knowledgeable, and I just love talking to her and having her on the radio where, you know, we could just spitball music ideas. To me, that would just be super dope.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the time we've got today. So, oh my gosh, I about
Yeah.
dropped into the mic. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate
We
it.
gotta have y'all back.
Yeah,
Thank
glad
you,
to be
and
here.
Good luck next year.
Yes.
You're only as good as your people. So make it all good.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, inspire them.
Create a culture where you can become good.
Yeah, that become better. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into this Fireside Chat with me, C-Mass.
Me, Gabe.
And everyone, have a great weekend and a safe weekend at that.